Okay, guys, we've reached the quarterfinals of Wimbledon 2025, and I am very unhappy. If you have been following the tournament, you probably know why, which I will get to soon. I'm not going to waste my time that much by looking at stats too much or anything, because I'm really not in the mood after what happened today. This is genuinely one of the worst, or maybe even the worst thing that I have ever seen happen in tennis for as long as I have been watching the sport, which has not been that long, but I do know everything about what happened in the last 20 years or so, even though I haven't witnessed it all live. But this has got to be one of the worst possible things that I have ever seen happen in tennis. And I'm supposed to start this video by talking about the finals in Mallorca and Eastbourne. So Eastbourne, Fritz won in straight sets. I think I predicted that. Or maybe I said 3, but Fritz won. Then in Mallorca, Griekspoor won in straight sets. I thought Motet would win. They were 2 close sets, so it could have gone either way. Anyway, as you know, for those who have been following the tournament, Jannik Sinner is still in the tournament, even though he was down 2 sets to love against Grigor Dimitrov, which most people were not expecting. I was definitely not expecting. I was expecting Dimitrov to get destroyed. But Dimitrov, somehow, I guess being a good grass player, he has been to the semifinals at Wimbledon, he was able to take the first 2 sets. And then, in the 3rd set, at the beginning or the middle of the 3rd set, this guy injured himself, and he retired from the match after being up 2 sets to love. So it is not like Sinner came back and won the next 3 sets. He did not even get to win one complete set, Sinner. He did not win a single set in the match. And he has advanced to the quarterfinals. After not winning a single set, he has advanced to the quarterfinals. Just think about that for a second. This guy should be out of here. But freaking Dimitrov, he literally cannot go a single Grand Slam without retiring. The last time that he lost in a Grand Slam, and it was not due to him retiring, was like 5 Grand Slams ago, apparently. The guy has retired in 5 consecutive Grand Slams. That is a new record. Congratulations. A new open era record. First player to retire from 5 straight Grand Slams. How can you be a pro tennis player and you can't go to the biggest tournament without retiring at the end of every single big tournament? I don't understand. This is literally the worst possible thing that could have happened. The only thing that could have made this worse would be if Dimitrov had a lead in the 3rd set. It was 2-2 The only thing that could have made this worse if he was up like 5-3 or something, and then he stopped being able to move. That would be the only way this could be worse. This could not be worse. This is probably even worse than Sinner coming back from 2 sets to love down and winning the next 3 sets. This is probably worse than that. Because at least if Sinner had actually turned the match around and won the next 3 sets, he would have actually won sets and advanced to the next round by winning sets normally, the way that you're supposed to win, and he would have actually been the better player for technically the majority of the match, for 3 out of 5 sets. He would have actually, in a sense, earned his victory. But no, the guy didn't win a single set. He lost 2 sets, he won 0 sets, and now he's in the quarterfinals of Wimbledon. So, if Sinner had turned the match around and won 3 sets to 2 from 2 love down, I would still be upset, but I would be maybe less upset than I am right now. Because the guy did not win a single set, and he is still here. And who does he have in the next round? A pigeon Ben Shelton, whom he has won 12 straight sets against, and whom he will win 3 more against. Now, even though he shouldn't even be here, if Dimitrov did not have to retire. And yes, I know fitness is part of the game, so technically speaking, Sinner deserved to win because he was able to sustain his fitness. But this has got to be the most unfortunate, frustrating thing that could possibly happen. To go up 2 sets to love and then have to quit the match because you got injured. How can this happen, man? Like, usually when people retire, they're losing, or they're at least like tied, like 1 set all or something like that. But this guy was up 2 sets to love, and then he gets an injury and has to retire. I'm seriously done. I'm actually done. I'm so done. I'm not done yet, but if Sinner, after being down 2 sets to love in this match and still progressing despite not winning a single set, if Sinner now goes on and wins the tournament, I will stop watching tennis. I'm saying it right now. If Sinner wins Wimbledon this year, I will stop watching tennis. Because that will be the worst possible way that somebody can win Wimbledon. They basically get a free pass to the next round because their opponent was beating them, outplaying them for the entire match until he had to quit because his body just quit on him. That is basically the worst possible way that you can win this huge, humongous tennis title. So if Sinner wins Wimbledon this year, I will stop watching tennis. Not forever, but probably until the US Open final. I'm saying that right now. And then, if that happens, that Sinner wins Wimbledon this year, then I will stop watching tennis until the US Open final. And then, if Sinner is in that US Open final, which he will most likely be, and if Sinner then wins the US Open, I will not watch tennis again until the Australian Open next year. Then, if Sinner is in that final, which he will most likely be, and wins the Australian Open again, I will stop watching tennis again until the French Open final. And then if Sinner is in the French Open final next year, which is very possible, he was literally a point away from winning it, and if Sinner wins that French Open next year, I will stop watching tennis again until Wimbledon next year, and so on and so forth. So basically, if Sinner wins this Wimbledon, I will stop watching tennis, and I will not go back to watching tennis consistently until Sinner does not win the next Grand Slam. So, please, Sinner, do not win this Grand Slam. Somebody please stop this guy. At least, the only positive thing that you could take out of this match is that Sinner looks like he's beatable. But we already know that he is beatable. Alcaraz has beaten him 5 times in a row. But at least it shows that he is beatable by someone other than Alcaraz. That is the only positive thing that you can take from the match. That is basically the only positive thing. This has got to be one of the worst things, if not the worst things in tennis that I've ever seen happen. So, being that I am not in a good mood from that, I will not spend that much time on my predictions. I will still give my predictions, but I will not spend as much time talking about them as I would usually do. I already said Sinner will defeat Shelton in straight sets because he owns Shelton. And that's just going to be the stupidest, most unfortunate match to watch. That this guy is still here and now he just gets a free win, a free pass, another free pass to the next round against a player who is useless against him. And then he will face, who do you know? Novak Djokovic. And then he will probably beat Djokovic again, because Djokovic has a mental block against Sinner. So, Sinner will defeat Shelton in straight sets. The quarterfinal match is tomorrow. Fritz versus Achanov. This was actually difficult to predict. The head-to-head is 2-love to Achanov, but they have not faced in a while. They have never faced on grass. They're both playing, actually, they're both peaking, maybe. So, and Fritz, in his last match, he advanced via retirement. But mind you, he was actually winning that match. He was actually dominating in the score. It was not like the guy was beating him for 2 sets and then retired. No, he was winning 6-1, 3-love. And then the guy retired. That is what a retirement should look like. You don't retire when you're 2 sets to love up, and I know Dimitrov had to retire. I know he couldn't move, so I'm not saying that he should have kept playing at that point. I'm just very angry at the way that this turned out. Okay, I'm not going to like be mad. I'm not actually mad at Dimitrov himself. I'm just mad at the situation as a whole. Okay, so yeah, Fritz. This is a difficult match because they're both peaking pretty much, and Fritz, in his last match, we couldn't take much away because of his retirement, and he has never been in a situation like this where he has advanced to a quarterfinals of a Grand Slam after a retirement. So this is hard to predict. I think this is going to go either way, but I will give my slightest edge to Khachanov and have Khachanov winning in 5 sets. Then we have Carlos Alcaraz versus Cameron Norrie. Obviously, Alcaraz is going to win, but I think that he can hard troll, so I'm going to say that he can win in 5 sets. A bit of a bold prediction, but I'm going to say Alcaraz in 5 sets. So I think the first semifinal, or the semifinal from the bottom half of the draw, will be Alcaraz versus Khachanov. Then, I already said, Sinner will defeat Shelton in straight sets. Djokovic is playing Kaboli. Djokovic will win in 4 sets because Djokovic is playing... He was playing solid against Deminor. Not more than so, just solid. But I don't think Kaboli actually played that well against Cilic. It was just that Cilic did not play that well. Cilic played even worse. So I think that Djokovic will win in 4 sets. I don't think that Kaboli can... Kaboli has also never defeated a top 10 player in a slam, so I don't think he will do that in his first Grand Slam quarterfinal. But Djokovic is just playing better than him anyway, so I think Djokovic wins in 4 sets. And the semifinal will be Djokovic versus Sinner. I'm looking forward to watching that match again. So we will have the semifinals, Djokovic versus Sinner, Alcaraz versus Khachanov. Thank you so much for watching, and yeah, I will see you in the semifinals.